Did you leave the house with your brother Cody looking like that? Or did you leave the house with your father looking like that? Or your mother? Is that how you left your family?
Victoria Goodwin, okay? Victoria Goodwin, wife of Aaron Goodwin from Gross Adventures, was talking and plotting the death of her husband with a man by the name of Grant Amato. Grant Amato was a former nurse who basically killed his brother, father, and mother over a porn addiction. Let's get into this. Grant Amato is a 32-year-old who is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for murdering his parents and brother. Okay, there is actually like a Wikipedia page about this guy. All right, this is who Victoria Goodwin was talking to, and this is according to the police report. In the last video that I did, I guess that there was this message where she's asking Grant Amato, am I a bad person because I choose to end his existence and not divorce? And she actually had set aside $11,515 to pay a hitman and went as far as sharing his information, including whereabouts, where he was sleeping, work schedule, and whatnot. Okay. And supposedly the hit was supposed to take place in California while Aaron Goodwin was filming the show. You have got to be kidding. I mean, there's messages of Victoria basically telling Grant Amato, he's asleep right now in the hotel. I need to know what's going on. Can I get an update? Was it done? This woman is ridiculous. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, did she know who she was talking to? Did she know this guy's background? And let's get into this because there's literally a Wikipedia page on this guy. This is who he is, okay? And he was born May 20th of 1989. He was an American former nurse who was convicted of familicide that occurred on the evening of January 24, 2019. Amato shot his father and mother and brother Cody in the head in their home in Florida while attempting to stage it as a murder-suicide committed by his brother before fleeing the residence. He was captured after a 24-hour manhunt, put on trial, found guilty, and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Okay? So this is who he was talking to. And literally there are other sources that are confirming that this is the guy. Okay? That this is Victoria was talking to Grant Amato, all right? The man that basically offed his entire family. This is like crazy. Even People has a whole spread on this guy. Where is Grant Amato now? All about the convicted murder at the center of the Control Alt Desire. Wow, there's a docu-series on this guy. Grant Amato spiraled after he started sending money to a cam model, an obsession that eventually turned into murder. The killer, whose case is at the center of the new Paramount true crime docu-series Control Alt Desire, shot his father Chad, mother Margaret, and brother Cody after he was prohibited from contacting a model named Sylvie, whom he met through a pornographic website. After losing his job, Grant began spending hours of time and hundreds of dollars a day on videos, photos, and messages with Sylvie. Now it's Sylvie with the IE, so I'm thinking that's how you pronounce that. Eventually stealing money from his family to be able to afford the interactions. After a stint in rehabilitation facilities for porn and internet addiction did not stop Grant from trying to contact Sylvie. His family banned him from speaking with her and cut him off financially. They also asked Grant to leave their home, but he eventually returned to kill his mom, dad, and brother. After the manhunt to find Grant, he stood trial and was sentenced to life in prison. From the crime to the resulting trial, here's everything we need to know about Grant Amato and where he's at. So this is the man that Victoria Goodwin was talking to. This is the man that Victoria Goodwin was saying, am I a bad person for wanting to end Aaron Goodwin's life? My husband's life, and I don't want divorce? Am I a bad person? This is the man. Now, how was this crime supposed to be committed? Who were the other parties? Because clearly he is, locked up serving a life sentence. There had to have been other people. And Why was she talking to this guy? It's just weird. How did she find him? Who contacted who? Who did what? I have a lot of questions. So Grant grew up in Florida, where his brother Cody, mother Margaret, and father Chad. He also had an older half brother named Jason who didn't live with the family. Grant was especially close with Cody. They grew up going to school and weightlifting together. As adults, they traveled to Japan and studied nursing at the University of Central Florida. Cody eventually graduated from the nurse anesthetist program, but Grant withdrew from his studies and became a nurse at Advent Health Orlando. Grant's career ended quickly. He got fired after he was suspected to be stealing prescription medication from the hospital where he worked, as well as inappropriately administering medication to patients. According to the Orlando Sentinel, prosecutors claim that after losing his job, Grant became depressed, isolated. He began live streaming and gaming as well as frequenting pornographic sites. He subsequently became obsessed with a Bulgarian live cam model named Sylvia or Sylvie. Okay, so I think it is, so her name is pronounced Sylvia. It just happens to have an IE at the end. In order to keep talking to Sylvia, Grant lavished the cam model with money and gifts, including sex toys and lingerie. It wasn't my intention to keep talking to this woman, but it just sort of happened, he told investigators in footage obtained by Killer Cases. Grant added that he believed he and Sylvia had an emotional connection. Grant's parasocial relationship with Sylvia was an expensive one, and he spent not just his own money, but also funds that he stole from his family, more than 200,000 according to investigators, to get video, photos, interactions with Sylvia online. He did so under the guise of wanting to promote his Twitch channel, a platform to stream video games. When Grant's family found out about his obsession with Sylvia and that he was stealing their money, they initially were more concerned about his welfare than his fun. Grant went to stay with his aunt, Donna Amato, and he soon began stealing money from her. Chad and Margaret convinced Donna not to press charges against Grant, and in December 2018 picked him up from their home and brought him to a voluntary rehabilitation clinic for pornography and internet addictions. When Grant left rehab early in January 2019, Chad and Margaret gave Grant a written ultimatum. If he wanted to keep living at their home, he had to get a job during the day, go to therapy, and pay for his own cell phone and debts. Grant was also prohibited from contacting Sylvia. Instead of following these rules, he used his mother's cell phone to message the model. When Chad found out on January 24, 2019, he ordered Grant to leave the home. Oh my God. So, this is what we know so far, that this is what Grant Amato did to his family. The day after Chad kicked Grant out of the house, Cody didn't show up to work, so his coworkers called the police and asked them to check on the Amatos at home. Sheriff deputies arrived at 9:17 p.m., and this is per the Florida Times Union, where they found Margaret slumped over dead at her computer, Cody dead on the floor of a storage room, and Chad dead on the kitchen floor. All three of them had been shot execution style, according to the investigators. Grant's 1996 Honda Accord was missing from the home, so the police put out a bulletin for the car and found him the next day at a hotel in Orlando. He agreed to speak with the investigators and showed little to no emotion while saying he didn't know what happened to his family. Later, when confronted with images of their bodies, Grant outright denied involvement with their murders. Detectives weren't convinced, and days later, they arrested Grant, who was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder for the slaying. So the prosecutors accused Grant of staging the murder scene to look like his brother Cody murdered his parents and then died by suicide. So records indicate that after Cody, Chad, and Margaret bodies were discovered, one of the family's credit cards was used to purchase 600 of tokens for access to Sylvia. Per the Lakeland Ledger, prosecutors also allege that after killing Chad, Grant used his father's fingerprint to access his online baking app. Wow. So he kills his dad. What did he do? Grab his finger and then use it on the banking app? That is crazy. That is crazy. Grant also attempted to cash in on his parents' life insurance policy, but was denied at the time due to his suspected connection to his death. Grant was found guilty on all accounts on July 31st, 2019. So prosecutors pushed for Grant to get the death penalty, but the testimony of the Grant surviving brother Jason may have convinced the juries to spare his life. One of the biggest things I missed being able to talk to my mom. It's been 208 days, Jason said at a sentencing hearing. His voice was breaking. Though they are gone, I want everyone to know that Chad, Cody, and Margaret were amazing people. The defense asked if Jason still loved Grant, and he said yes. The jury ruled August 12, 2019, sentencing Grant to 3 lifelong prison sentences without the possibility of parole, one for each of his victims. And I guess there was a lack of emotion from Grant Amato. So Grant, as of this article, and this article was written 2024, so last year, April. It says that Grant is serving a life sentence at the Tomoka Correctional Institution in Daytona Beach. In August 2019, he filed an appeal for his convictions and life sentence, and an appellate court affirmed the original decision in May 2021, denying Grant's appeal. Nearly 3 years later, Grant's crimes and resulting trial were the focus of Paramount's true crime series, Control Alt Desire. So this is who Victoria Goodwin was talking to have her husband murdered. And by the way, I was doing some searches on Grant Amato. Like, I just have a lot of questions as to how they got connected. How did this happen? And she's talking to him like, it's crazy. Like, I cannot believe it. Yeah, I have a lot of, how did they even come connected? She had to have known who he was, right? Like, she had to. Questions, a lot of questions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out. Bye, guys.